Retail sales across the Eurozone fell by 0.2% in July as the downturn hits consumers. On a year-on-year level, sales are down by 1.7% according to Eurostat's reports. As market tension increases ahead of tomorrow's ECB meeting and rumours have emerged of a possible 6-day working week for Greek citizens, I'm joined on the phone now by Marie Diron, Senior Economic Advisor at Ernst Young. Marie, today's figure marks a 2-month ending gains. Is this significant of yet another weakening in the Eurozone?
I think this does show that the Eurozone economy is very weak indeed, and that we still haven't seen the worst of this crisis. We would expect actually retail sales to continue to fall probably throughout most of this year. Households' budgets are really constrained by fiscal tightening throughout the Eurozone and by raising unemployment rates that affect their incomes. So combined with the fact that very high uncertainty about the outlook that really encourages households to save rather than to spend, it's not surprising to see really retail sales suffering in this environment.
We've seen a rise in inflation across the Eurozone. Do you think businesses are going to need to start absorbing some of this inflation opposed to passing it on to consumers in order to improve retail sales?
That's what we would expect would happen. The rise in inflation has been mainly linked to movements in energy prices, but pricing power of companies is probably very weak at the moment given the really subdued demand. So we would expect inflation to come down in the remainder of this year, which would bring some relief to households, although it is likely that wage growth will be very weak as well.
Looking at individual countries, the largest decreases were recorded in Portugal at negative 7.6%, and Spain, which recorded negative 7.3%. Greece's figures have remained confidential, however. Details have been leaked regarding the Troika's proposals for a 6-day working week for Greek citizens. Should this be implemented, can we anticipate a boost to consumer spending and therefore a rise in retail sales in Greece? What's your opinion on these proposals?
We think the Greek economy really has a long way to go before it can contemplate a recovery and upturn. So most likely sales in the country will be weak for some time to come. The Troika monitoring will be important to really deciding whether Greece can get more time on the bailout plan than earlier envisaged, which is something that we would think would be a good outcome. But the restructuring of the economy is of a scale that really means a recession is likely to last this year and possibly next year as well.
Will that extra working day provide the additional capital that the Greek economy requires at present?
It would give Greece some time, which is essential really at the moment, as otherwise it would face really prospects of having to leave the Eurozone. So it will not solve all its problems, but at least it will give it more time to implement the necessary reforms.
Naturally, the markets are focused on the ECB meeting tomorrow. How do you think these figures will factor into tomorrow's rate decision?
It will probably confirm the ECB's analysis that the Eurozone economy is very weak and in need of more monetary support. So it should really help those at the ECB who are in favor of more action, notably in the form of bond purchases. And we do agree that this is a necessary measure that needs to be taken and needs to be really embraced fully by the whole of the ECB.
And lastly, Marie, the euro did take a dive ahead of today's retail figures. Comments from Germany's finance minister have actually predicted a lot more euro stability in 2013. Is this a sentiment that you would agree with?
We've been relatively surprised by the strength of the euro so far, in that compared to other major economies within the outlook in the Eurozone is quite a bit weaker. So we would have expected the currency to go lower. So we think there's potentially a correction really as economic news becomes available, and as it looks that this recovery we've been waiting for in the Eurozone is delayed even further.
That's all we've got time for right now, but Marie, thank you for speaking with me. The Dukescopy TV team will be covering tomorrow's all-important ECB rate decision, so stay tuned.